We find out what's happening in the town manager's office when we chat with town manager Mark Ells on this episode of Barnstable Today. It's Wednesday, October 12th, 2016. I'm Sarah Mantle.
Busy day yesterday, big meeting in the Selectmen's Conference Room. We had kind of all interested parties dealing with the issue of homelessness here in downtown Hyannis and really kind of the greater Cape Cod. County officials, elected officials, social service agency providers, and of course Lieutenant Governor Karen Polito was here to kind of get an update. So really, my impression from that meeting was that we really are progressing in a positive way in terms of kind of figuring out the best way to deal with the situation.
I agree with you. First of all, we appreciated the Lieutenant Governor taking the time to come down and actually have a working meeting with us. Typically, those meetings are everybody comes and makes a statement, and I wouldn't describe them as working meetings. This very much was, and that's what I've observed in interacting on all sorts of issues with this administration. They're responsive. They want to sit down and understand the issues. They come from a community background, so they're coming from our level, and yet they're our leaders now in Massachusetts. So they sit down with us and they bring whatever resources and whatever they can to bear to help us address our problems. And that's what we did yesterday. I think we got the opportunity. I thought our Sergeant Ellis from our police department did an excellent job summarizing what we've been doing relative to this issue, kind of boots on the ground view of it. And then we were able to share with the Lieutenant Governor what our ask was, which I thought, Representative Whalen opened the door for that discussion, and we greatly appreciated it because, yes, we are making progress on ending homeless camps in Barnstable, addressing those homeless or near homeless, certainly in and around our Hyannis and Hyannis Main Street, coordinating outreach workers from the various agencies to be able to get the people to the right sort of support so that they can begin to progress toward a healthier life. Working with the state on issues like the shelter and how that should be managed and how it works in our community, and us being a part of that decision-making process. It's critical. We know that there are these needs out there, and we care about people and want to see them become healthier and live a better life. For us to be effective in that, we have to be a part of it. We have to very much be able to understand the problem and then at our level break it down into manageable pieces and then chip away at each of those pieces. So we got to ask the Lieutenant Governor for some more support. We said, look at, in speaking with the group as a whole, we need to look at the voucher system to get people into housing when those in this population are ready for housing. And it was interesting. The state said, "Well, yeah, you're right. The rates we're using were 2005 market rates, not 2016 and beyond." So that was a very, I thought, discussion that might yield some positive. We asked them to look at more beds for those who have issues with substance abuse or mental illness. And if they don't have any, if those people who are in need don't have anywhere to go, how do you begin the transitional process? And they recognize that. And I know that they've been working on it. And then bigger picture, we got into discussions about how we can create this transitional process. That's not really the kind of tactical, day-to-day sort of solution. That's more big picture, longer-term strategic. But, how do we create this transitional process for the entire population who has this challenge, and do it in a way that we can see progress? And, we do feel, though, that the efforts through our police department and coordination with the many other agencies that are out there that service the population, our fire department certainly. We've kind of reached a point where locally the next step involves case management, for example.
Sure.
Involves being able to place people progressively in a housing scenario that gets them back on their feet and functioning. And so that's just not us. That's a town, county, state, service agency, human service agency sort of an effort. And so that's where I see us spending a lot of time in this next 12-month period.
Sure. Sergeant Ellis, of course, one of our community police officers, or dedicated to this issue, made it what I thought was a really interesting observation, in that I think that we're never going to completely get rid of the homeless issue, but the work is really to manage as many as we possibly can to avoid it getting out of control. And I thought that was a very interesting way of looking at it. I think that ideally we would love to see, no homeless in Hyannis, but I think it's almost unrealistic to think that there will be a time when that's the case. So making sure that we continue to manage the population that we have so it doesn't get out of control. I just found that interesting.
I think that's absolutely the way we need to look at it. And I think if you pick up a newspaper and you read about this issue, it's a national issue, and it just comes home right here to our main streets. And so we need to be knowing of that. We have made the decisions to be the regional economic center, the regional transportation center, the regional medical center, and other sorts of environments where we will see people in need come for various reasons. So I don't believe that us needing to provide support in this area will ever end, but I think her observations are right. We need to manage this effectively so that we keep that quality of life that we're all looking for, both the people in need and our residents and our visitors and our businesses. And that's what we're doing. And by bringing everybody together and having our state leadership there as part of our team just is encouraging. And I think it makes you feel as though your objectives are truly achievable, and it motivates you to keep going with these efforts, and not unlike substance abuse issues. So we've got the homeless, and we've got other issues that we're looking at here in Barnstable.
Sure, and so that gives a good segue to our next topic, which is, of course, substance abuse. In the last and most recent town council meeting, Councillor Jen Cullum and Councillor Sarah Cushing discussed a poster campaign that they are helping, that kind of came out of the work of the town council substance abuse subcommittee. I know that you've been working closely with them. Tell me a little bit about what you know about their efforts to kind of put these posters around town and how that might help dissuade our youth from drugs.
Well, again, another national issue that comes home right here to us in Barnstable. The issue of substance abuse has been a growing concern in all populations, not just young populations. This particular effort will target youth, but across the board, and much of it can be directly linked to the use of painkillers. And so what you'll see my office and myself personally doing here with the substance abuse subcommittee of the town council, but even in a greater sense, much like we've tried with the homeless efforts, is bring together the various groups that are working on this. I mean, just within the town of Barnstable, I know that our school systems have a very aggressive program in this area. Our rec center, our youth center has an active group. Our senior center has efforts in this area. And then in general, municipal government's involved. We have efforts by the various service agencies that are out there, and then the state. So we will pull those resources together. We will understand our local efforts, Police department was the one that I left out.
Sure.
But again, that's on the tail end of response here. We want to get out of that and become more and more proactive.
Well, be sure to tune in to our hour-long news program, Barnstable This Morning, weekdays at 8 a.m. On tomorrow's show, we'll have our community profile highlighting second year for the Barnstable Village Halloween stroll. Also, we'll chat with Glenn Cannon of the Cape Cod Commission. Plus, we'll have all the news and information you need. For Barnstable Today, I'm Sarah Mannel.